Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Juan Carlos Brando, and for me, it's a pleasure to have a chance to talk to every one of you in this first English show with the attorney Margaret W. Wong on the year 2024. So I hope you had a happy new year. That is a good beginning for a new round to the uh, around the sun. And immigration doesn't stop. We know that we need to do research every single day that we are in this country, in the United States of America, which is one of the greatest countries in the world. It is a nation of immigrants. And since this country is like that, I think there is a global migration around all of the countries. And right now, the United States of America is one of the first targets that everybody wants to go because it's a safe country, it's the best country in the world. Also, the economy is one of the strongest economies in the world, and everybody wants to come to this country. But what do we need to do? What can we do once we are in the United States if we want to get immigration relief? Let's talk to the attorney Margaret W. Wong, who is the expert in these kind of cases of immigration, working on this for 46 years and more years to come. Hello, Ms. Wong. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, and I love the way you phrase your question or your reflections on the new year, on what's to come. It's interesting because years and years for years, the southern people who came undocumented or illegally, normally they pay a coyote. The coyote would, fly them from different countries, go to Mexico and walk in, and then go through 4 days of walking or dying on the way or getting raped or something, and they avoid detection. But starting with Trump and also started with Obama, instead of running around the poor CBP officers, riding a horse, running around the whole border, they sort of just encourage the people to come to there's a little house they built for CBP to report. So now most of the undocumented people, a lot of them are saving a lot of money for coyotes. They just come to the door and apply for asylum. So in the past 10 years, now that everybody is coming, it's just really not nice. So people really need to stop coming because the people who came for the past 40, 50 years, especially the Mexicans, because Mexicans, remember at one time, California, it was Mexico. So Texas, and now in those days, a lot of people, they came, we don't really care about Social Security, work permit. We just want to work, file a tax return and go back and build a house and retire. Now with all the American born children, more and more people want to stay. So the history reflects that even though at one time people like us, we don't care, but now we care. But then there's no other way, because anytime you came undocumented, especially for Mexican nationals, we leave for a funeral, we come back. We leave for a wedding, we come back. We fell in love with a girl when I was a teenager. Now that I made some money, I went back to marry her. And both of us came undocumented together. Now the kids are in their 30s. We still don't have papers or social or green card. And even though I have a tax ID number, I filed tax under the TIN number, the tax ID number. But with tax ID, you cannot get any benefits. But with social, at least you can get whatever you pay in out. So things have changed. So my advice for new people who wants to come in, please come in under the CPP-1, the CAM program, the Family Reunification Program, the I-134, I-134A, or come with different legal programs. Let America take a break. Let America come up with ideas on how to change some laws to help these grandparents and parents who have been here for long, or even children who were brought in when they were a few years old, the DACA cases. Because even under Biden now, no more new DACAs. At least the old DACA, make sure you don't have a criminal record. I can do extensions. You can still do parole. Under Trump, they couldn't even get parole, and DACA extensions were so slow. Trump already have a 25-step plan on to remove and deport most aliens of no papers. They already have a plan. So if we are stupid enough to vote for him, we are stupid. So we have failed once. We have made a mistake once. Let's not make the mistake again. But for now, I think it'll be good. I think things are really doing well.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And well, let's start with the questions from our audience. And right now, we are getting questions coming from the United States, from Colombia as well, and from somewhere in Asia. I'm not sure, but let's start with the questions. This first person says, "Good afternoon, Attorney Wong. This greeting comes from our YouTube channel." And also, the next question is, "Hi, I have a brother and a sister in Colombia. They are engineers, one of them, and the other is a teacher. There is a rumor or a news that says that there are 10,000 visas available for Colombian professionals to come in 2024. Is this true or just a rumor?"
It is not true. I also heard of the rumors. Some people say it's 20,000. Some people say it's 8,000. This is a rumor. Let me tell you what I would do for your brother and sister. I don't know if they're married or single. Most upper middle class Colombians and educated people, they already have a tourist visa. So if they have a tourist visa, maybe they want to come here. They could not work, but they could look for a job. All right. So you need to go to interview. If not, just go on sites on Indeed, look for a job. And then you can do a Zoom interview because February is coming. You can apply for H-1B. So if you got the H-1B by March or April, you file the H-1. If it's approved, you can go to the American Embassy in Colombia to stamp the H-1B passport and come to America. If you only have a bachelor's degree, that's 65,000 numbers. It's normally 4 to 1. But if you have a master's degree and PhD degree, is another 20,000. So they're changing the ways to get into the lottery, but that's what I recommend you to do. Another way to do it, I don't know if you're a citizen, but you can also file for them. I don't think Colombian is a CAM program or family reunification, but if you file the I-130 for them, and if Colombia is a family reunification country, then it's up to the U.S. State Department after the I-130 approval to invite them to come to America with a work permit. So instead of waiting the 15 years for brother, for sister, for family 4, they could come with a work permit on parole and wait. But I'm just not sure because right now there's so many changes in view of Afghanistan and Ukraine and South American countries. But they are, and Chile have H1B1 now, which is important because that means that if you have a degree, for example, your brother and sister is Chilean and lives in Chile, they don't even need to wait for the lottery. They can do the H1B1 visa and they can come. The family can come on the H4, and if they're perm approved, the family even can get work permits. But I'm pretty sure Colombia is not a H1B1 visa state. So there's a lot of changes. I will also go to USCIS website and see what country Colombia have, like El Salvador have TPS, have CAMP, and also a family reunification. So we need to look at that country and see what specific programs they have.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. Don't forget, the phone number is 216-279-3984. 216-279-3984 is the phone number you need to talk or call to talk to the attorney Margaret W. Wong. Next question is, please, can I be granted continued presence and work while my T visa case is pending?
Yes. I'm sorry. So first you filed a T visa, then you filed a receipt notice. You couldn't get the work permit yet until the T visa is approved, or at least as a I don't even think T visa have bona fides. Bona fides and information letter only applies to U visa, but T visa should be approved between 6 to 9 months. T visa is a lot faster than U visa. So you should be granted in a matter of a few months a work visa that should last for at least 4 years. But continual presence, there's no such thing. So I don't know what you meant. It could mean that can you get a parole? The answer is you cannot get a parole until the T visa is approved, which should take only 6 to 9 months to a year. So you can get parole and get a work visa. Continuous presence means that you are here and you never left. So there's no grants in continuous presence. You can only grant asylum or parole or T visa or U visa. A grant means the answer is yes. You need a letter. Continuous presence has no letter.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Well, the next question we have is coming from a person from Haiti, but I just want to remind the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Hi, well, this is the next question.
Yes, the
Yes.
answer is yes. You can do
Okay.
OPT. A J1, you cannot change adjustment of status to a green card if you're a subject. Absolutely, you can change OPT to the green card. But I think more than that, I don't know what country you're from. The question is it like a case where an asylum grant, you can do adjustment of status to a green card? OPT, you can do a direct adjustment if you have a permit proof or you married an American citizen, but you cannot just change to a green card just because you have OPT. You still have to have the I-130, the I-140, the 526, or the 360.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. Don't forget, phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. The next question is, I came illegally. I don't have a job, I don't have money, and I want to go back to Haiti. How can I go back? Immigration can
Wait. That's ridiculous. Why would America give you a trip back when you came undocumented? Of course, the answer is no. And why do you want to go? You spend so much time, money, dreams, sleepless nights, and you came. You go get a job and you file asylum. And I think Haiti have TPS or something, doesn't it? Or something. Don't just think you want to go back. That is so stupid. And number one, America is not going to send you back. I mean, they may deport you, but why report yourself to get deported? Then how are you going to come back? How are you going to face your parents, your family? It's such a shame that you failed. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but I've never heard of someone who wants to go back. Everybody wants to say, how can you help me? How can you help me get a work permit? How can you help me get a social? How can you help me so I can make more money? I think this is stupid. I'm sorry.
Sometimes people just make it here and they think it's going to be easy. And just like you say, it's hard to make a living.
That's right. Even Mr. Juan Carlos and I were like,
especially
but
in
we
the
don't
United
want to
States.
go back. We're not. I never tell people I want to go back to Hong Kong. Never. I much prefer. Don't say that, but I much prefer to be in America in a little dark room than to go back to Hong Kong, even though Hong Kong is beautiful.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I spoke to I spoke to a young man. He's 17-year-old or 18-year-old, and this young man said, "Well, he was with his uncle. They were going back. I was taking them to the airport, and the uncle was really, really upset. And the reason why this young man wanted to go back to Venezuela was because he said it was because of the girlfriend. But the truth was he wanted to go back because when he made it here, he realized that he had to pay for everything
Oh my gosh.
and that he had to work and work hard. So because of that, he got upset and he decided to go back to Venezuela. This uncle was super mad. He was very upset, but he said, if he wants to go back, I'm not gonna hold him anymore, and just go back to the country you came from, and it's not gonna be my responsibility anymore. So some people make it here, and when they find out that it's not like they see on the pictures and the videos that everything is good, everything is fancy, when they know that they have to pay and they have to work hard in this country, they don't want to do it and they go back.
Oh, that's such a shame.
It is. It is, Ms. Wong. Actually, it is. Next question is, my son is 17. We entered to the United States 1 week ago. He turns 18 in 5 months. I will apply for asylum. Will he be part of my asylum case, or he needs to file separately?
I would do it as part of yours because your story is better than his story. But if he has a good story, he should also do on his own because it's always easier for young people to win. But the age of a dependent and a rider is really under 21. So as long as he's still under 21, you also have the freedom to put him under yours. But if he has a good story, and he may, I would also do a separate one.
Okay. And I think this guy is with his dad only. His mom is back in their country. Could he qualify maybe for
Dependency
certain attempts?
maybe depends on what state you're in. What Mr. Juan Carlos is talking about is a ward of court case, depends on the state, and not everybody qualifies. Because some states, even if you qualify, the state won't grant it because dependency action is a state action. And sometimes because the father and the son really come here to make enough money to bring the mother, so it's the mother did not abuse, neglect, or abandon them. So I really don't want us to play with the system because if we keep doing these kind of cases, then immigration may shut down the whole program. Then kids who really need help, like both parents abandoned them, or one parent abandoned them, the other one was just, a prostitute or something. Um, but in order to do ward of court, at least one, if not both, of the parents has to be a abandoned, neglected, and abused. In some states, the fact that he or she is not paying child support is considered abandonment. But you only have 5 months left. Those cases normally takes about some states takes 2 or 3 months, but like in New York, sometimes it takes up to 15, 20 months because it's such a big city, because it's a city and state case, it's not an immigration case.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong.
And thank you for the question and thank you for your point made. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, don't forget the phone number is 216-279-3984. 216-279-3984 is the phone number that you need to call. And the offices of the attorney Margaret W. Wong have locations in 7 cities of the United States, in Chicago, Atlanta, Cleveland, Columbus, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216-279-3984. That's the phone number that you need to call in order to get in touch with the attorneys in the law firm. Over 15 attorneys working with the attorney Margaret W. Wong, and they are so happy to help each immigration case. This next question says, hello, Mrs. Wong. When is a good time to start gathering documents for H-1B visa?
February, you can start getting into the lottery. And once you get into a lottery, normally it's April 1st to April 5th, but every year it changes. I think this year is also changing more. Then you start gathering documents. Normally it's not that much document because you have to do the prevailing wage. You have to do the 10-day notice. It's pretty standardized. Getting the H-1B, getting into the lottery is not filing the lottery that's difficult. The filing of the H-1B is not difficult. It's just more the job description, the employer, the tax returns, the job description to make sure it's a specialty occupation, because now they're talking about even MBAs and masters in business or bachelors in business or hotel management is not enough of a specialty occupation. So there's a lot of debate. What is a specialty occupation? So in the olden days, 40 years ago, 35 years ago, there was no prevailing wage, and job description should be anything like a marketing position, because the is professional job. Now is specialty occupation. But that definitely a fashion designer is. If not, do look at the old visa if you have awards, honors, writings, publications, and stuff like that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And this next question, this person says that he needs an attorney. He's a person from Nashville and need an immigration attorney. So if you need advice, just give us a call. And there is an office, an amazing office in Nashville. The phone number is 216-279-3984. It's a beautiful office nearby the airport. I've been there and I love it. So you can go ahead and visit the office. Miss Wong is traveling, I think, every other Friday to Nashville. So just call the office, 216-279-3984, and they will tell you when she's going to be there in the city of Nashville. But this person says that I am from India. What are the chances of getting asylum approved? This person has been living 10 or more years in this United States.
Right. Asylum law is you have to file within 1 year if you have like post-traumatic stress, or the abuse just recently happened by someone from or something. So you can argue how to overcome the 1 year. If not, it's practically impossible to win asylum. So the question then becomes, even if I don't win asylum, will I be deported? So that's really more the question, because asylum is practically impossible now. Actually, if you look at the USCIS.gov web, or I hope it's in there, President Biden did come out with the refugee numbers is really, really low. So asylum is a part of refugee state countries. So my question is not so much asylum, can I win or lose? The question then is, when will I be deported if I file asylum? So the chances of being deported back to home country, because America is very slow now on asylum, is very, very slow. So at least you can stay in America legally with an asylum pending, even though you may not or may win asylum. We have a case is from a Nigerian person. The kid has been, call him a kid. He was like maybe 23, 25 years old. He came to America when he was very young. That's a few years ago. He never got DACA because he just never did it because he was on student visa. Somehow we got him a humanitarian grant on asylum. So it's an interesting case because I personally didn't expect to get it, but we got it because we made. But sometimes it's good to lower your expectations, because then if you have to go to court, at least you don't feel you have failed. It's just discouraging that you fail every time. After a while, it's like, oh, why am I even be doing this job? Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And this person says that they have 4 children born in the United States. Would this
It
help?
depends on if they're healthy or unhealthy. If they're healthy, it's also difficult to win. But we also have won some cases from some good courts. I don't want to say it in public because the judges would call me and yell at me. But there are some really good courts. They look at totality of circumstances on 10-year cancellation of removal cases or 42B cases. So if the kids are really good in ballet, in chess, in soccer, in tennis, in because there are certain like swimming, you don't have to be Olympic level, but you're sort of really good, and you have a chance to maybe get into some national leagues, then you can also win what we call the 10-year cancellation. If they're really stupid, or if they have serious illness, or if they have like suicidal tendencies, or if your parents have a green card and citizen, or I also just won a case where I found more than a year later on asylum where the woman was really seriously abused, and it was a really sad case, and she was very uptight about it. We also just won another case. It's a Chinese where I've known the girl for years, and we did a pretty good asylum. We expect to win it. So during the interview, everything went well. For a year, I didn't hear back. So I keep calling immigration. So immigration called us for the second interview. And then we prepped her. I said, well, since we already finished the first interview and the case is not referred to court or not a final grant, I said, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance. So the second interview is a new officer. It turned out the first officer left the government, quit. And the second officer just want to go through some more details. At the end of the interview, I was going to say, okay, because we always have our clients, the answer is yes, no, and facts. Don't talk more, don't talk less, all right? She just say, oh, you're so nice. I want to tell you something. I didn't tell my lawyers. I didn't tell my family. What now? Because it's always these kind of little secrets that drove me crazy. He said, well, I had an abortion when I was very young. I was so embarrassed. I never told my family. Um, don't say it, because now the officer looked at us and like, what are you guys doing? You can't control your own clients. So I said, no problem. We need another postponement. So now we've amended five, but it's luckily it's in Chinese. So we have a one-child policy. That's a very good asylum. So I think I'm going to win that case. But these are cases that I'm just, because when you ask me questions like that, I'm like, you never know what happens in that court. And we have cases where the U.S. citizen wife were telling me she was suicidal, she was this. So we said, oh, okay. And then in court, she said, well, I just am too embarrassed to talk about it, but I was really raped by my stepfather. It was not in the psychologist report and the therapist report, because my lawyer gave me the name of these reporting therapists, but it was my old psychologist report, but I didn't want my husband to know. I don't want my lawyers to know. So I'm like, that makes the case better. Why did you tell us? But I mean, at least we can get ready for this. So these are things that you never know what happens at trial. You never know what happens. And also, we missed something. We had a young lady. I can tell you stories about these interviews. And then it turned out she was she was a prostitute. We knew she was a prostitute, but and we never really asked because it's so painful to start with. So during the interview, we were upfront. She was selling her body. She was very young, and I didn't want, because there was no police report. I really didn't want to get too much into it because it's not a bad case, but it's a marginal case. And then later on, she said, well, I do have a PIM. The PIM is run by another big man that lives in America. And then my, I think it's Argentinian or whatever country case, really sent them to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell us? That makes the case a better case, because it's like a T visa or trafficking visa. But just, I mean, maybe we didn't ask, maybe they never told us. So these are things that you really should write down the story and tell the lawyers who's ever prepping you. And don't be embarrassed by it. Sorry, I go on and on.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your answer, Ms. Wong. This next question comes from a person that is born in Mexico, but he came very young to the United States of America. Apparently, he came in 2008 after DACA, so he doesn't have DACA. But the problem here is that this person is already uh, over 18, and he says, I worked for a Mexican for 1 month and he didn't pay me. He said that if I called the police, he would send someone to beat me up. I am from Mexico, from Chiapas. I barely speak Spanish because they speak dialect, and I speak more English than I do speak Spanish. Is there something I can do with this case, or could
Chiapas,
maybe
I'm glad you asked the question. He's from Mexico. Chiapas is one of those states that have a lot of indigenous people. I happen to know because we represent quite a lot of people from Chiapas. So definitely report to police and don't be scared. This is in America. This is America, and you can find someone to go with you. If not, in spite of what you believe, about the meanness of police, most police officers are very nice, especially to people who don't speak English, because Spanish is such an awesome language. So is Chinese, so is Japanese. Like when I was in Detroit airport, even those English, they all have Japanese language because Detroit is the car city. And a lot of Japanese people build these parts for the Japanese car companies. So absolutely report to police or report to FBI or report to Department of Labor or Justice. They normally have someone there, or you can go on the internet and report. There is a new thing called PIP, parole in place, or U visa for people who don't pay you, or people who. So you may want to do maybe a discrimination case or race case. You can go to EEOC. And he stopped answering calls. Yeah, no problem. So report to someone. You may be able to get a T or U visa. If not, even in your asylum application, talk about it. And also, don't worry that you speak a dialect. Speaking a dialect, indigenous, is good for asylum, because indigenous areas, same in American Indians, the educational situation is bad. Because every country in the world is trying to suppress indigenous people, like Canada, Australia. They're all doing the same thing. So it's good.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Yes, actually, I spoke to this person yesterday, and he said, well, he's watching the show, but he was very, very sad because he said, I was working for this person, and I don't get why some Mexicans just take advantage of other Mexicans. And I would say it's not only Mexicans; it's most Hispanic people do that.
Chinese does that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about a lot of TVs cases coming from Chinese people or Hispanic people, that
Koreans. Yeah.
Koreans, yeah, that they bring people into the United States, they offer something, but then they don't give what they offered, and it starts the abuse against these workers that come humbly to work in the United States. Ms. Wong, thank you very much for your time. Our time is up for today. I'll see you next Wednesday, and hopefully getting a lot of questions from our audience as usual. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong.
Thank you.
Okay, and for everybody who has joined us today, don't forget the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Attorney Margaret W. Wong and Associates with over 46 years of experience in the immigration field. Thank you so much. Have a good lunch and see you next time.